Welcome everybody. I would like to today we are ranking every single ability in Valorant. Yes, this is a video I've been trying to make for a while. Um and I don't know, I won't really have anything else to upload, but before we get started into the video, I would just like to say, hey, I would like to apologize for the lack of uploads lately. I've been very busy and just haven't found a lot of time to do this and what I love. So I would like to apologize for that. And sorry for the content being kind of lackluster because I just didn't have motivation to do the last video that I made, and I am so sorry for that. Um, I would also like to say big shout out to Eggwick right here. He gave me the idea to make this tier list, so big shout out to him. He did this originally, so please go check him out. I will leave a link to his video in the link in the description if you want to go watch it. But please watch this one first, you know. Um, and then another shout out to my good buddy, my best friend probably. His name's Jade. He is a Radiant Valorant player. He streams on Twitch, and I'll leave his Discord and his Twitch in the link in the description. Please go check him out. He's one of my best friends, and I love him a lot. And he deserves to be watched more on Twitch and stuff because his content is kind of funny. And once again, he's a Radiant Valorant player, so you know I'm kind of gonna bring him up a lot. I just slurred all my words. I'm kind of gonna bring him up a lot during this video, so please go check him out. He's an amazing guy. Anyways, before we hop in, I have been addicted to the Valorant for the past month. I'm pretty much a Valorant nerd now. I know the ins and outs of this game, definitely. Definitely. And you can blame my Radiant friend, you know, Jade, link in the description to his Twitch and Discord, you know, right here for that, because I used to be an Iron player until he started teaching me things, and a lot of my friends started teaching me things, and now I'm I want to say like a Silver 2 or Silver 1 player, not gold. I'm definitely haven't reached the ranks of gold yet, but I definitely say I'm up there. I'm up there. You know, I'm climbing this. I'm climbing in the world, all right? But so I'm pretty much a nerd at this game now. I know everything about it, and this gives me enough knowledge and insight to make this video. And I'm also making this spite Jade because I know it's going to piss him off, or I'm gonna put some of these abilities later on. So, but anyways, enough of me rambling on. How about we just hop, you know, right into the video. Before we start, I would like to say here are the things that I'm ranking this on. Okay, I'm ranking it on like how much the ability costs, the value you can get out of the ability, the how many ult points it is for the ability, and like I'm going to also be taking into account high elo players and low elo players, if that makes sense, you know? So I need to take both into account here when I do this, and I'm sorry for anybody who is I keep messing with my hair and I'm sorry. Um I'm not really sorry, you know. If you have any difference of opinions with this tier list, please leave them down in the comments below and we can talk about it. All right? I will be replying to as many people as I can, and you know, let's have a friendly discussion. And you might be wrong, but you are, because you are, because I said so. So let's just hop straight into it, shall we? Starting off, we have Astra. Her concuss, I think it's only decent. I don't think it belongs in um I don't think it belongs in good tier. I don't think it belongs in amazing value. I don't think it belongs in S tier or F tier. I've seen some decent plays off of this. I don't think it's good enough to be in good tier. I do have an Astra main friend, and they're really good with Astra, and even I don't see them use this ability a whole lot, because it's a very, very, very situational ability, and I just don't think it deserves to be anywhere else but where it currently is placed. So, and plus Astra for the econ part of this, it's gonna be kind of weird ranking her considering all of her abilities are like 150. So that's how much I'm going to have to take into account here, is that all of her abilities are 150 econ. So, but I just don't see a good use in this. I've seen it used once or twice. It requires a lot of team play to make it actually work. So, even Astra mains I've seen not really get good use out of this ability. So, but anyways, moving on. Smokes. It's a smoke. I'm putting all smokes except for one in good tier, and that one ability we can talk about later. But it's the smokes is going to go in good, because I don't know, low elo players struggle with smokes. High elo players know how to use them properly, and they also know how to play off of smokes if somebody smokes them off. So that's why I can only put them in good tier. Her ults, I think it's a good ult. I've seen some bad low elo plays with the ult, but I've also seen a lot of good elo plays with the ult. So therefore, I'm putting it in good tier. It's simple as that, and I think it deserves to be there. What just happened? Okay, there we go. Her suck, I think it's good. I think it's a good ability. It takes people off bomb. It's only 150 econ. I know it's kind of weird saying that. It's a good all-around ability. You can force people to reposition. You can put them out in the open. There's a lot you can do with it. It's global. I think it's a good ability. Breaches Concuss. This is coming from a former Breach main that I think it's just decent. If now hear me out. If it broke KJ's ult, if it broke it, like I think it used to, I think it did. I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but if it broke KJ's ult, instantly S tier. Not S tier, instantly A tier. The S tier would be way too high. Instantly A tier. Just for that reason alone. But since it doesn't, or doesn't anymore, I can't remember if it did to begin with. I think it did, but I'm not sure. I think it belongs in decent. It's just that simple. I don't think it belongs in good or A tier or F tier. I think it's a decent ability. It is like 200 or 300. Low elo players don't really know how to use this properly. Low elo players don't know how to use Breach in general, which is a problem. I think he is one of the hardest initiators to learn in this entire game. Like, if not the hardest initiator to actually like pick up and try and master. So I think I can only put this in decent. His flash, A. Can we just give a round of applause for our first A tier of the video? It's his flash can go anywhere on a wall, so you can really do anything with it. It's the longest lasting flash in the entire game. You get 2 of them, low econ price. It's a good flash, you know, it deserves to be an A tier, you know? And there's so much you can do with it. And even low elo players have done some crazy stuff with this before that actually ended up working out. So I think it's a good ability. His concuss that reaches halfway across the map, I think it's I want to put it in A tier, but I think I can only put it in good because it requires so much map knowledge for you to actually use. My mouse keeps falling, and I'm sorry. I know I keep adjusting it. It requires so much like team, like map knowledge, and just knowledge of a situation in general for you to get any sort of value out of it. So I think it belongs in only good tier. I don't think it belongs in A tier. It is a free ability. It recharges the round goes on. It has a long range. I want to put it, for the life of me, I want to put it in A tier. But it's just, I don't think it deserves A tier. I'm being serious. I don't think it does. I don't think it's worthy of that title. I think it is a good straight up B tier ability. And I really do want to put it in A tier. But anyways, I mean, this is a hard ability to learn. So is his flash. Speaking of which, when I was a Breach main, because I wanted to learn Breach really badly, my good buddy Jade, you know, who's a Radiant and Valorant, by the way, and a Twitch link in the description, so is his Discord, you know, he told me straight up, I suck at Breach, and if I want to, like, he sold me this, okay, he told me, you suck at Breach, okay, like, your flashes are bad, this is bad. That's what he told me, straight up. And I was like, damn. But then he told me if I wanted to really learn Initiator, I needed to, he told me to learn KO first. KO, I'm going to be very biased on later in the video, and you'll see why I love KO. I am now a KO main because of it, and I think he's a very underrated character. But anyways, we're not talking about him. We're talking about Breach. So, I do think just because of this high skill ceiling it takes to use this ability just properly, I think it can only be put in B tier. His ult is an A tier. I've seen low and high elo plays off of it. It's really good. It's good for retake sites. It's good for re-entry. It's good for entry to begin with. It's good at a lot of things. It's only 7 points. It's just a good ult in general. I'm sorry if I'm slurring my words a lot, but this is the second time, not even second, it's the third time I've done this recording. The first time I tried a new style of content, it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. And then the second time was my audio broke and I got it fixed, hopefully. I'm praying. Anyways, moving on. Brim, his stim, it's bad. It's bad. As much as I hate putting it there and I want to put S tier for the memes, it's bad. It's a bad ability. It's Please, any Riot devs that are listening, even though I know you aren't, but if you're listening, please, for the love of God, make this ability heal. It's a stim. Make it heal, okay? It doesn't have to be for 100. It doesn't have to be for 500. It doesn't have to be for 1,000. It doesn't have to be for this or that or this. Make it heal for like 30 while you're standing in it. Just do something with it to buff it, please. It's a bad ability. Please, just do it. And I want to see this ability get used more. And it's funny when people use it. But I just think you need to do something to buff it. Like, make it heal. That's what I'm saying. I think you should make it heal, you know? I think it would be good for a heal. And that's that. Anyways, moving on. His Molly, A tier. Easily one of the best Mollies in the entire game. There's a lot of bounce. You can do a lot of lineups with it. Doesn't cost too much. It does the most damage. It's like 10 or 5 ticks per second. I don't know. It's some crazy number that does a ridiculous amount of damage. It's the longest lasting Molly in the entire game. So it is the best Molly in the entire game. So I definitely think it deserves that spot. Smokes. It's a smoke. B tier. Sorry. His ult, 7 points, breaks KJ ults, does, like, takes people off site. I've seen a lot of good, like, high elo and low elo plays off of this, so I think it's A tier, to be honest, because, I don't know. I've seen a lot of bad ults turn into really amazing ults because people, like, low elo brimstones get a lot of accidental kills because of it, and I think it's just a good, like, ultimate, so I think it deserves to be an amazing value because there's a lot you can do with it. It is like a one-trick pony, but that one-trick pony also kicks you in the face every time because it's a good one trick. So, I know that's a very cringe analogy, but don't worry about it. Moving on. Chambers slows. It's a worse version of the alarm bot. I'm sorry, it just is. I don't know what to tell you. It only slows. You can only pick it up from a certain range, like Cypher's trips. It's just, it gives you a little bit of info. You kind of have to put them weirdly or else high elo players just know where to shoot them out. So that's why it's not good. It's not a good slow. It's just not good. His sheriff and his op, I'm putting in the same category. So my reasoning for this is, for when it comes to abilities that require like aiming, like actual like gunplay or anything like that requires actual like aiming types of skills, I'm gonna put them in good tier. Because here's my reasoning. Give this to a Radiant player, like this sheriff and the op. Give it to a Radiant player, it will become a goated ability. Trust me, it becomes a goated ability. Put this in the hands of an Iron player, and this suddenly becomes the worst ability in the entire game. There's too many, like, variables requiring the person to have actual aiming skill, and those are two completely different gaps when it comes to elo. So if this is making sense, it probably isn't, but I don't know. But so I think I can't put it anywhere higher than B tier and anywhere lower than B tier, just to make it fair. So Cyphers, not Cyphers, Chambers, little TP, it's decent. I'm gonna be honest, they nerfed this thing into the ground. Before, I would have put it in S tier because of how much was going for it, but now it's just been nerfed. It's been nerfed way too heavily for it to be anywhere else. It belongs in decent. And I know some people are gonna argue a lot of things in the comments after this video when they see what the S tier abilities are and like what I'm looking for in an S tier ability. So I know people are gonna probably get pretty mad at me for it, but it's just not a good ability. It's not good. Cypher's trips, I think they're good. I think they don't cost that much. You get a lot of info off of them. You can do a lot with them. I don't think it's a good ability. I do think it's a good ability. I'm sorry. His cage, it's only decent. Please, for the love of God, buff this thing. Like, actually, though, it's the worst smoke in the entire game. And it's almost bad tier, but it would be criminal for me to put it in bad tier because it's still a smoke after all. But I think that genuinely, if you were to do something, like give Cypher like a little voice line, give him a little notification or something when the enemy walks into your cage. Do something like that if you're not going to put a roof on top of it. Because let's say, for example, I'm on Haven, I'm attacking A, and I'm going through sewer, and I throw my Cypher trips, and there's nobody in the corner to my right when I'm coming out of sewer. So I go to my left and get onto site. Okay, the person in like heaven, the person in tower can just easily just shoot me because they know they can see me through my cipher gauge. It's not a good ability. It's like it's decent at max and almost a bad ability. But please, for the love of God, do something to buff this. I know I am slurring my words a lot, and I do apologize. Once again, this is the third time recording this, so I do deeply apologize for that. This, moving on, his camera, A tier. Amazing value, it's free, you can pick it up, you can place it anywhere. You can tag people with it, you get a lot of info off of it. It's just a good ability. You get a lot of a good value out of it, so I think it's amazing value. So his ult, it's only 6 points. It's good for certain situations. It takes a long time to proc, but I think it's a good ability. It's almost decent. It almost should be in the decent category, but it's just not. It's such a good ability. Like I've seen Radiant players, like my friend Jade over here, Twitch, link in the description, so is his Discord. Go check him out. I've seen him do a lot of like interesting stuff with this and come out on top because of the situation. So because he just used this and it's only 6 points, it doesn't cost him much. It's one of the 3 abilities in the entire game that's just 6 points. So I think it's a good ult. But moving on. Fades, Prowlers. I think it's good. You get a lot of info. They cost money. You get 2 of them. You can do a lot with them. I think it's a good ability. Her tether, easily the worst tether in the entire game. I know it decays, but it's just like if it pulled them to the actual location, but it doesn't, then if it did, it would be a good ability. But since it doesn't, it's only decent. Okay? It doesn't deserve to be anywhere higher than that. I know it does like decay them and stuff, but no, it's not a good ability. Her haunt, I think it's good. It can be easily shot out though. It is a free ability. It does recharge as the round goes on, but once again, it can be easily shot out. It's very easy to avoid, and you can do a lot of cool lineups with it. So I think it's just a good ability. Her ultimate, I think it is amazing value. You can do a lot with it. It's only 7 points. You get a lot of info off of it. It's kind of like a breach ult, but kind of worse in a sense, I want to say, but also kind of the same, but different. It's weird. But I think it belongs in A tier. So, but yeah, no. Gecko, bear with me here. Just gonna put this, and this here. I did want to debate this and put this in B, but I think it belongs in amazing value. And then I'm just gonna put this here. So I'm explaining these two. These two are just good abilities. They can be shot. They both can be just shot in high elo, but in low elo they can't really be shot out as easily. So there's a lot you can do with them. I think they're just good abilities. His thrash, you can pick it up. You get 2 ult uses with it. High elo, people know how to shoot this out very easily, but even then they can still mess up and still get caught by it. So yeah, no, but it's still a good ult. His molly, it's one of the worst mollies in the entire game because I've only seen one good use of this molly in my entire life. Okay, and that is on Pearl. I was in heaven and I was on a site and there was 3 of them on the ground and I was stuck in like the heaven, like little corner in heaven, and I didn't know how to, like, I didn't have any util and I was playing KO, and the gecko mollied me and I had to run because I would either die by the molly or die by them, and I died by them because I had to run out of the molly and I couldn't make it out. And it was the one time where I saw good use out of this. It takes a long time to proc too, and I think it costs 300. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I think it costs 300 though. So it's not a good molly. Harbor, his cove, it's only decent. Very easily can be used against you if played wrong, so I don't think it's that good of an ability. I think it's decent, but it's not bad by any means though. His little wall, I can't remember if this is a free ability or this is a free ability. I would have to look into that, but this, I think it's a good ability. You get 2 of them. There's a lot you can do with them, high elo and low elo, so I think it's a good ability. This, okay, his ult, A tier, almost S tier, for the reason that I've yet to see a bad play with his ult. I have seen times where people have procced it too early or too late, but I definitely think it's a good ult and almost S tier for the fact that you can never go wrong with his ult. Like, there's a lot you can do with it, and it's very simple, and it just, I don't know, there's a lot going for it that makes it A tier and almost an S tier ability, because the fact that you can proc this and it's almost never a bad ult because of just what it does, then I feel like that almost deserves S tier, but I don't think it makes the S tier cut. It almost does. It definitely almost does. His little thing, this is like a Viper wall, but almost kind of better. It doesn't damage, but it slows, but you can throw it like almost across the map, I think, and you can angle it however you feel like. It does, I think this actually does, I think this is his free ability, because I think it recharges as the round goes on. So, I definitely think this deserves to be here. It's a good ability. Like, you get a lot of value out of it, so yeah. Anyways, Jets smokes. Oh god, let me move that back. I'm sorry. Jets smokes. Easily A tier because there's so much you can do with it. Okay, put this on anybody but Jet, and it's not a good ability anymore. I will tell you that. It is not good. Put this on anybody that isn't Jet, and it just isn't a good smoke. It's easily one of the worst smokes in the game. But since it's with Jet's kit, it's easily one of the best smokes in the entire game, because of the fact that there's so much you can do with it. You can throw it anywhere. Or it takes a minute. It doesn't even take a second to proc. There's so much. You can angle it so weirdly. You can stick it to walls. It allows Jet to reposition properly or entry. There's so much you can do with it with Jet's kit that's ridiculous. So to the point where it would be almost criminal for me to put it in, not put it in A tier. So her updraft, it's only decent. It's not that good of an ability. People like overestimate how good of an ability it is. I don't think it's that good. Moving on. Her dash, S tier. S tier. This easily allows you to peek something, get a pick off of it, and reposition with zero consequences. And that is a goated ability right there. That is what makes an S tier ability, is when something like that can happen and it allows you to reposition like that. Chamber, I know people are going to argue, Chamber, you can do that, but you can't do it as well. Okay, it still takes a second to like activate, and I know I've seen somebody before. I can't remember the video. If I can find it, I'll show it on screen, but if I can't, then I'm sorry. I've seen somebody, as he's TPing away, literally, I think it was a bug, because I'm not sure if you're supposed to. I've seen somebody actually kill him as he was trying to TP away. Like, he did his little animation, but they headshot him as he did that. So I don't know, it's just not, it's not that good. I don't know if that's a bug or not. If I can't find the video, then I'm sorry, but I don't know. But anyways, I think this is a goated ability. It's practically a second life, and lives in this game are everything. So it allows you just to do crazy stuff with zero consequences. So that's why it's an S tier ability, and it recharges the more you get kills. So moving on, her knives, same with Chambers, Sheriff, and Up, and it belongs in good tier because it kind of depends on the player and their skill level and how many shots they can hit. So I can't put them anywhere else because of it. Alright, moving on. KO. I'm about to get very biased here with his abilities, okay? KO Molly, it's only decent, okay? It's one of the worst Mollies in the game. I'm very sad to put it here, but I can't bring myself to put it in good tier because I know what it's capable of, and it's not capable of a lot. So that's why it's only decent, but it is a good Molly nonetheless. It's not like very bad, but it still is kind of bad. So I think it belongs in decent, sadly. Moving on to his flashes. Easily A tier. Easily A tier. Okay, let me explain here for a second. The reason I'm putting them in A tier is, first off, there's so much you can do with them. Second off, it is the single-handedly best beginner flash in the entire game. You want to learn flashes? Run KO. Okay? You know, my good buddy Jade here, you know, link Twitch and Discord, link in the description. Go check him out. Amazing guy. You know, Radiant player, by the way, Valorant. You know, he told me, after telling me to stop playing Breach, he told me if I wanted to learn Initiator that badly, play KO. KO easily has one of the best kits in the entire game, and he's like the jack of all trades, master of all of them. Yes, you heard me right, master of all of them, because there's so much you can do with this kit. It's honestly ridiculous. And I think This just deserves to be here because of the fact that his flashes are the most simplest flashes out of all the flashes, and there's so much you can do with them. You can learn lineups, you can pop flash, you can learn how just to flash properly in general, and that's why this makes them such a good flash. So it's, if anybody wants to learn initiator or learn how to flash properly, please, for the love of God, play KO. Please. I'm like, this, he's such an underrated character, and his kit is so good, and you can use him in low elo. Like, give KO to a low elo and a high elo player, and you'll still see some good plays off of both of them. Like, trust me, you will. It's not that hard to use this kit. His kit's very simple, and there's so much you can do with it. So please, if you want to learn initiator, play KO. He's the most simplest and easiest to learn out of all the initiators. Even more simple than Sky, I feel like. Yes, I said it. Even more simple than Sky. So, anyways, moving on. His knife, A tier. Easily A tier. Almost S tier, but for the life of me, I know I will get yelled at by Jade, by the way, you know, who's a Radiant player in Valorant, by the way. Twitch and Discord, link in the description. I know I would get yelled at him by, if I put this, I would know I'd get yelled at by him because I put this in S tier. So that's why I'm putting in A tier. The only downside I see to this is it can be shot out very easily, but even then, it's still really good. It still gives you info nonetheless. So it disables people's abilities. You can do a lot of cool lineups with it. It has a massive range. It goes through walls. It recharges as the round goes on. And it's just all around a great ability. I'd almost put this in S tier just because of how much you can do with it. What the? I would honestly almost put this in S tier just because of the versatility you can do this. Literally give this ability, put this ability in the hands of a low and high elo player, and you will still see amazing plays off of it. Trust me, you will. It's not that hard. Like, it's such a simple and such an easy to learn ability that it's honestly impressive how, like, easy to learn this ability is. So, I know I'm being very biased with this guy, but I don't know. I like it. I think it's a good ability, and I think it's almost S tier, and for the life of me, I wanted to put it in S tier just because there's so much going for it. But I know I will get yelled at, okay? I know I will get yelled at because of it. You know what? Dude, should I put it in S tier? You know what? I don't know. Should I put this in S tier? Like, you can get so much info off of it. So much you can do with it. I'm genuinely thinking right now, should this be an S tier? It's a free ability. It recharges every 40 seconds, which is not a lot of time. And it's just, you can do so much. There's so much going for it. To the point where I think it deserves an S tier. Honestly, I think it does. I don't know. Because, like, you can put this, like I said before, you put this in the hands of a low and high elo player, and they will both find good ways to use this knife. Like, it's honestly, that's easy to learn. I think for my sake, I want to put this, for my sake, I'll leave it in A tier, but just let it be known, I want it to be an S tier ability. So, but anyways, moving on. His ultimate, it's an A tier. It's a good ability. It's like the knife. It suppresses the enemies. It even suppresses them when you get downed. It lasts for a few seconds. It's good for retaking site. It's good for entry onto site. It's good for a lot of things. And it's very rare to get revived with your ults. I know it's kind of funny because it's very, very rare. Like, in the week and a half that I mained KO and still am maining KO, I think I gotten revived like 5 or 6, maybe even 7 times by my teammates. Like, it's very rare to get revived by your teammates when you're in your KO ult. But there's a lot of value you can get out of it. It's a lot of info. The only takeaway is that it does give away your location, because it is kind of just like, once you proc it, it's literally just a big beacon saying, hey, we're over here, please shoot us. That's literally all it's saying. But even with those, like, I don't know, like, detriments to the ability, I guess would be a good way to phrase it, I'm gonna have to leave it in A tier. And it's only 7 points too. That's also a plus. Moving on, KJ, who, by the way, my friend, that's a Radiant player, by the way, Jade, go check him out. Twitch and Discord link in the description. And he mains KJ. And honestly, some of the stuff that I've seen him do with KJ is honestly impressive. So it still blows my mind whenever I see him do something because it's just there's so much cool stuff you can do with KJ. So, anyways, I think this belongs in A tier, this belongs in B tier, and this belongs in A tier. And I will explain these three individually right now. That Nano Swarm, give this to a low elo player, they'll know. Just throw it on the bomb and try and stay alive a little bit, like just that way you can proc the abilities, or as they're about to die, they'll still proc the ability. So it's every low elo player I've seen play KJ still knows that, even without being told it. High elo players have done some crazy stuff with this before in combination with the alarm bot and the turret. So I've seen a lot of cool stuff before done. So that's why I am putting him in A tier. But her alarm bot, it's literally just a better version of Chambers slows. I'm sorry, it just is. You can pick it up anywhere. It provides the vulnerable status effect. I think it does damage as well. There's a lot you can do with it, and it's just a really good ability all around. KJ's turrets, it's really good for peeking stuff. It's kind of like a third, like a second, not really third player. It's like a second player in a sense, like in low elo, because in low elo they have to do one of two things. They either have to shoot you or they have to shoot the turret. If you're both, it's literally having a second player hold your cross. Like that's what I love about the turret, is just because of that reason. So, and if there's two people playing with you, then boom, that's literally having a third person with you holding your cross. Like that, there's so much you can do with the turret. You can get so many kills off of it. It's honestly an insane ability. It recharges as the round goes on. You can pick it up anywhere. It's a free ability, almost an S tier ability, but a lot of high elo players know how to counter it very easily. So that's why I'm not playing in S tier. So I think it's a good ability though. Her ultimate, S tier. I've yet to see a bad KJ ult. I've seen them put in bad situations, but even then, they still have been good. I think it's a good all-around ult. It is 8 points, sadly. It's very hard to be broken with any util other than Brimstone ult. Brimstone is like the main counter to KJ ult, is his ult. So, but I've seen a lot of cool stuff done with this before, and honestly, it puts a lot of pressure on the enemy team because it's like it gives them an extra objective. Think of it like this. It does. Think of it like this. Okay, you're on Fracture. You're going. What is it? A site, I think. Yeah, you're going A site, I think. Not the one that's like sandy and all deserty. It's the other one that's like full of like moss and stuff. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I think that's A site. If you go underneath A site, put the ult there, you just took over the entire site. If you can guard that ult, you literally just took over the entire site because it puts pressure on the enemy team to do something. It gives them 15 seconds to make a decision to do something. They either have to kill your whole team or find the ult or do something or get off site and wait the 15 seconds, and those 15 seconds could be detrimental to the entire team if they can't retake the entire site again. So I think it's an excellent ult, and I think you can be played very well. It gives the enemy team an extra objective to do, which could be detrimental to the enemy team. So I think it's just a good all-around ult. Anyways, Neon, her wall, it's bad. Please, it doesn't do damage. It doesn't last that long. It's not a good wall. Her stun, it's good. Her running, it's good. This, it's like Jet's knives. It just requires let's aim and stuff like Sheriff and Op. Can be countered high elo, isn't really counterable low elo. So that's why I'm putting it kind of low on this list. Her dash, it recharges, it's free, it's a lot going for her. Her stun, she gets 2 of them, and she pretty much gets 4 of them because they kind of balance and they create 2 little spaces. But anyways, Neon, that's where I'm putting her stuff. Anyways, moving on. Shroud Step, I think it's good. It allows you to reposition. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. A lot of low elo players do a lot of weird stuff with it that somehow end up working out. But a lot of high elo players know how to use this properly, so I think it's a good ability. It doesn't cost that much either, like 100 I think per charge. I think, I'm not sure. Paranoia, amazing value. Even in low elo, I've seen some amazing plays off of this, and high elo, I've seen some amazing plays off of this. So I think deserves to be an amazing value. Kind of pricey, So I almost want to put it in good, but I do think it is a good ability for what it does in like both elos. Smoke, it's a smoke. TP, it's a bad ult. I'm not gonna like talk about this much more. It's just a bad ult. Phoenix Wall. I think Phoenix Wall. It doesn't heal for that much. You can't control it. I don't think this deserves to be. I think it deserves to be decent. His flash, it's a good flash. It insta procs. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it, low and high elo. And yeah, I think it's a good flash. His molly, it's only decent. It's nothing to write home about. His ult, hear me out here. S tier. It's a second life. There's so much you can do with it. It's free information. It's 6 points. You can kill a lot of enemies with it. There's so much just going for it that it's honestly hard not to put it in S tier because it is the equivalent of having a second life, and you can do a lot with that second life. I've seen people literally get aces before just because they use this ability. Like I've seen a Phoenix once in my entire this is the only time I've ever seen this, but I've seen them do it where a Phoenix has ulted, gotten 3 kills off the ult, and then like went back full HP, and then knew where the last two were because that's who he got shot out by, and like that's where he got shot from was the last two guys. They both shot him at the same time, and then he went he went in, flashed, and killed both of them because of that, because of all the info he got off of it, and he aced the entire round because of it, and it was honestly pretty impressive to watch. It's literally having a second life, and lives are everything in this game, so it deserves to be an S tier. Anyways, moving on. Raze Roomba, decent. It costs 300. It's not a good like drone type ability. It's only decent. Blastback allows you to reposition. I think it's a good ability. Deserves to being good. It doesn't cost that much, and it does some damage. I think it's a good ability. Her grenades recharges as the round goes on. The more you get kills, easily A tier. uh this, you can do a lot with this high elo and low elo. Like this doesn't really fall off in elos, if I'm being honest. There's a lot you can do with it. uh Her ultimate also A tier. It is 8 points, but it is an insta kill ult. If you hit somebody with it, has a lot of AoE damage. It is on a timer, sadly, but so are like almost all of these ults are on the timer, because if they weren't, then they'd be broken. um so this easy A tier. Reyna, I'm just gonna put this here. All right, there we go. Not gonna talk much more about that. Reyna's a trash agent, and she will forever be a trash agent. Okay, fight me for it. I don't care. B tier, good. Sage's wall, it's good. Slows, they're decent. You can't really do a lot with them. You can do a lot with the wall, but you can't really do a lot with the slows. Um, Her heal, if we're talking Sage pre-nerf, her heal would be an easy A tier. Because you heal yourself for 100, you don't get locked into an animation, and it's just a good ability. You get a lot of insane value off of it. But after the nerf that happened a long, while back, then you only heal yourself for 30, but you heal your teammates for 100. I think it deserves to be good. If for some reason Riot decided, let's say tomorrow, to nerf it to where you only healed your teammates for 30, then this would easily become a F or a C tier ability, because it's that's just a bad heal at that point. I know I argued that with the stim, but the stim doesn't do anything to begin with, so if you give it something, then at least does something. So, but this is meant to be a heal. This is not meant to be a heal, but it is called a stim for a reason, so make it heal. I know I'm making a bad argument right now for this. It's kind of cringe, but don't worry about it. I think it's a good ability. Once again, if we're talking pre-nerf, then I put it in A, almost S tier. But we aren't talking pre-nerf. We're talking in current state, so I think it's a good ability. Her res, instant S tier. It's bringing a whole nother person back into the round, which, if you know, Jade, by the way, good buddy of mine, radiant player, by the way, streams on Twitch and stuff, has a Discord link in the description. God, I sound like a sponsor for him. He's sponsoring me, by the way. This guy right here, that's what he's doing. He's sponsoring me. If you were in a 1v5 situation, you have your ult on Sage, you res them, you bring your best player back, like a Radiant player, like I pointed out, as Jade is, then you could probably win that round because of it. So it's honestly a ridiculous ult. It's 8 points. I know it's kind of pricey, but it also has to be 8 points. Wait, hold on. Why is this saying that? I might be stupid, but this is saying 7 points. No, her ult is 8 points. I know this is saying 7 points, but I'm almost positive that Killjoy's ult is 8 points. Anyways, I just now realized that. Anyways, back to what I was saying. This is 8 points. It's kind of pricey, but it is worth the price, because if they didn't make it 8 ult points, then it would be kind of a broken ability if it was 7 or 6, because, yeah. I don't want to talk about toll-free. Toll-free is calling me. Anyways, moving on. Skye, her heal, it's good. It's literally a heal. You get locked in the animation, though, but it's still a good heal. Her dog, it's good. You get a lot of info off of it. Her flash is easily the second best flash in the entire game. This is the first. This is the second. This is the third. Okay, this is good for beginners. These two are just good in general. So, there's a lot you can do with it. You can fake out with it. It's just a lot of cool stuff you can do with her flash, to the point where it's like, it'd be almost criminal to put it anywhere but A tier. Her ult, it's a good ult. You get some info out of it. Very counterable, high elo. Not really that counterable, low elo, but people still know to shoot it out. But you still get some info off of it. Sova drone, not dart. Sova drone. 400, not that good of an ability. Low elo, pretty good. High elo, but still 400, which is ridiculous. So even the Roomba isn't 400, but there is a lot you can do with it. So, but it's still not good enough to put it in good tier, you know? His darts, they require lineups and for the player to have knowledge of basic stuff, I guess, in a sense. So it's a good ability, but not good enough to be good tier. Like, I know you can do some insane stuff with this high elo, but in low elo, you hardly ever see these get used properly. So, and it's very rare when you actually do see them get used properly. His dart, A tier, free information. It's kind of like a KO dart. Even after being shot out, if it still lands, then it still gives you info, even after being shot. So, which is insane. It recharges the round goes on. It's a pretty good ability. So I think it deserves to be A tier. His ult, it's decent, max. It's 8 points, and you don't get a lot of value off of it. And I know a lot of people are going to be angry about that in the comments, and I'm sorry. It's just not good. People overestimate how good this ability is. It's not that good. It is not a good ability at all. And I know a lot of people are going to get mad about me, like mad about that for putting it in decent. I don't think it belongs in B tier or A tier. I think it's just decent, and that's it. That's final. So I know there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it, but 3 shots, 8 points, and it's not good. There's so much going against it to a point where it's like, it's not bad. It's not bad by any means, but it isn't good enough to be good, put in good tier, you know? So anyways, moving on. Viper's mollies. I'm just going to do this real quick. Viper's mollies require lineups and the player to have basic knowledge, but it does provide the vulnerable status effect, which is very, very good. And in Valorant, it's a very good status effect to put on other people, not your own teammates though. But it does a decent amount of damage. It can be used well in low elo and high elo. This one, these two require you to know basic knowledge of where to put them. It's kind of like a smoke in a sense. You require basic knowledge of like how to use them effectively. So that's why they both kind of get lumped together. Because put these in the hands of a Radiant Viper and they will be goated abilities. Put this in the hands of a Iron Viper and they will be trash abilities. It's kind of like that, you know. So it's just it's kind of weird putting these anywhere, but I feel like good is a good place to put it. Pun not intended. Anyways, Viper's ult, amazing value. I've yet to see a bad Viper ult. I'm telling you. It's kind of hard to do a bad Viper ult, but you do get a lot of amazing value out of this. So I think it deserves to be an A tier. And there's not much more else I can argue about that on why it should be an A tier. Anyways, moving on. Your clone, we're just gonna leave that there. His flash, I think it's a good flash. His TP, I think it's decent. I think it's only decent. It's very strong low elo, very, very bad high elo, which is why I'm only putting it in decent. Um, his ult, it's a very good ult. It is a good ult. I don't think it's amazing value, but I don't think it's decent by any means. I think it's a good ult. Anyways, guys, that is the tier list. If you object to anything, leave a comment below, okay? You know, I would love to hear him, and maybe we can talk about it. All right, I'll be replying to as many comments as I can. Thank you for listening to me. For how long is this recording? 45 minutes. Thanks for listening to me for that much time. I just want to once again give a shout out to Eggwick right here, you know, for, you know, like making the video originally, and I will leave a link to his video in the description below. It's kind of old, it's like a year old, so I won't have a Harbor and Gecko on it yet, but it was still a good video, and it gave me inspiration to make this one. And once again, check out my buddy Jade over here, Twitch and Discord, link in the description. Honestly, he deserves more. Like, he just deserves more for his content in general, because it is good content. So anyways, guys, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry, it's kind of a lengthy one, but I have been meaning to do this for a while. And yeah, I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.